Hey guys, welcome to 2021. Well, we made it this far. Hopefully this will be a better year than last year was. We can always hope, right? Alright, so you saw the title, My Favorite Top 10 Eyeshadow Palettes of 2020, ranked. This was such a hard process. Yeah, I was going to do this video last week and I couldn't decide. It was so hard. But I really wanted to do it. I thought about just blowing it off, but I really wanted to do this video, so we're gonna do it. Alright, so let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is one of the e.l.f. Bite Size palettes. And I'm gonna have to get out my trusty spatula here. Why do they design palettes? And it's not just e.l.f., but all the brands. Why do they design them so that they're so hard to open? Okay, so Bite Size palette, e.l.f. Hot Jalapeno. First of all, if you've never tried any of these Bite Size palettes, they're amazing. They're $3 for 4 eyeshadows. I mean, you're not gonna do any better than that. If you like grungy greens, you kind of have to have this palette. It's perfect. It is so perfect. And if you do a combination of these 4 shadows, it's absolutely beautiful. So for grungy greens, this is the palette to have. So that is number 10. Number 9 is my other favorite e.l.f. Bite Size palette. This is called Acai You, and I'm going to call this an indigo palette because it's not blue, it's not purple, it's indigo. It's a combination of blue and purple. Some people call that shade blurple, but this is gorgeous. And this is my other favorite of the e.l.f. Bite Size palettes. This formula is incredible. It's really good. And I'm looking forward to them releasing more of these palettes because they've been such a smash hit that I'm sure they will. As a matter of fact, actually they already did. I wasn't going to say anything about this because I didn't want the video to be too long, but e.l.f. just released a mint green collection, and there are 2 palettes that have mint green theme to them. Go on the e.l.f. website if you're interested. There's a big, huge mint green collection that they just released. So they already did release more of those palettes. Okay, so that was 10 and 9. So now we're going to move on to number 8. Number 8 is the BH Cosmetics Cherry on Top palette. And this is from their Sweet Shop collection. I've talked about this a lot this year. I talked about it when I first bought the palettes, and I raved and ranted about how great they were. And then I talked about it again many times when they did a restock of these palettes. So you've been told many times. So this is the Cherry on Top palette. So it's a red themed palette. I want to try more from BH Cosmetics this year. Part of the appeal of these is not just the formula and the monochromatic color scheme, but it was also the size of the pans and the number of the pans. This is perfection to me. 8 large size pans. There are other palettes that usually release palettes with little tiny pans and a whole bunch of them. Don't really care for that. I feel like I don't like to have to try so hard to get my brush into a pan, and the pans are very small. So I was really hoping that since this was such a smash hit for them, that they would release more palettes with large pans, and I waited and waited and waited, and they didn't. So it's not looking too hopeful for that, but I want to try, even if they don't release any more palettes with large pans, I want to try more BH Cosmetics in 2021 because their formula is really great. So that's the Cherry on Top palette. So that was 8. So number 7 is the BH Cosmetics Bubblegum palette from the Sweet Shop collection. And this is the blue one. That's what that looks like. There were 6 palettes in this collection, and I bought 4 of the 6. There are 2 that I don't have because I just didn't think I would get that much use out of them. There was an orange one and a gold one. And orange and gold are my least favorite colors, so I just thought it would be wasteful to get those because I knew that I wouldn't use them that much. Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7. So this is 6. This is the BH Cosmetics Cotton Candy palette from the Sweet Shop collection. And this one is the only one in the collection that's not monochromatic. So they did pinks and purples in this one, which I wish they had not done the gold palette, and I wish they had done a whole purple palette and a whole pink palette instead, but it's not my brand, it's not my say, but that's Cotton Candy. All right, so 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So now we're up to 5. So this is the top half of my picks. You knew this was coming, right? BH Cosmetics Pistachio palette from the Sweet Shop collection. This is my favorite of the whole collection. This is the green one. Oh, so pretty. I really hope that you guys got some of these. I don't know if any of them are still available on the BH website or not. There might be if you want to check. All right, so now we are coming to my top 4 palettes of the year. And you might be surprised because I went on and on about these BH palettes so much this year that you probably expected to see those at the top. But ultimately, I decided to go with something else. In the number 4 spot is Profusion Rubies. Red eyeshadows are not the easiest thing to pull off. But when I used this palette for the first time, I was blown away because it created such a beautiful look. So this is like my go-to red eyeshadow palette for sure. It's just, there are no words. I had a tough time deciding what position I was going to put this in because it could have easily been any of the top 4 positions, but yeah, I decided to go with this for number 4. So in case you don't know, Perfusion palettes are sold, of course, on their website, but also at Walmart. And this palette is only $5 for 10 eyeshadows. And it's such good quality. Oh, I should mention this because this is really important. I bought a Profusion palette years ago, and I didn't like it. And I ended up decluttering it. And come to find out, it was the eyeshadow primer that I was using with it at the time. I talked about the same subject in my last video because it's so true and nobody ever talks about this. So if you've bought Profusion in the past and you didn't like it and you're thinking to yourself, what is all the buzz about Profusion? You know, I tried it and it wasn't that good. Well, it might be the eyeshadow primer you used. Today, I used the Profusion eyeshadow primer with a Profusion eyeshadow palette, and I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to use their eyeshadow primer. I'm just saying that some eyeshadow primers don't work well with their formula. I don't know why or what that is, but that's just how it is with some eyeshadows. Wet n Wild is the same way. If you use certain eyeshadow primers with Wet n Wild, the shadows just don't perform right. So it's good to try different ones and see which ones work I think it's like some sort of chemical reaction thing. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that because a lot of people would be like, oh, Profusion. But go on YouTube and just type in, you know, Profusion and look at all the raves about it. There are a lot of people that really love this brand, and the ones that don't, I think, need to try it again with a different eyeshadow primer. Just saying. Okay, so that's number 4. In the number 3 spot, I went with Profusion Wanderlust. And this has 18 shades in it. And it's a purple green. It's mostly a purple and green palette to me. If you didn't get the Melt Cosmetics holiday collection, this would probably be a good substitution because it's very green and purple heavy. But you also have some browns, some pinks, a gold, some light highlight type shades. This is really nice. So I chose this for number 3 because I love the color story in this. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, only 2 positions left. Coming in at number 2 is the Profusion Glamour Land palette. This was the holiday palette that they released as a Walgreens exclusive. If you look on the Walgreens website, you might still find this at some stores. I checked this morning just to make sure because I don't like to, you know, talk about something and rave about something and then you can't get it. So yeah, they still have this at some Walgreens. I don't know if it's still available on their website or not to order, but I know that it is still in some stores. Everything about this is gorgeous. Look at this packaging. It looks like a clutch handbag, doesn't it? It's gorgeous. It's $20. I was lucky enough to get it on sale for $10. They might mark it down again because the holidays are over. They might not. I don't know. But here's what it looks like. I think there's 72 pans in here. Pretty sure there's 72. There's blushes. There's bronzers. There's highlights. There's pressed glitters. Don't use the pressed glitters. Don't need those. And these are the eyeshadows. And this is so much fun to play with. And it was the first time I had ever tried their blush formula, which I really like. Next time I'm at a Walmart that has a Perfusion section that isn't completely trashed, and you know what I mean if you shop at Walmart, I would like to pick up one of their blush palettes because, excuse me, saved by a glass of water. Ooh, I still sound like I have a frog in my throat. Okay, anyway, yeah, I think this is still available. It's so much fun to play with. It has a little bit of everything in it. I've done, I think, 2 videos about this palette already. So I'm not going to go on and on about it, but this is my number 2 position. Coming in at number 1, do you have any idea what it is? I'll give you a hint. It's what I'm wearing right now. I thought long and hard about this, and in the number 1 spot is, and I have to make room here because this is a big one. I'm going to give my number 1 spot to the Profusion Kaleidescope palette. 42 shades. Okay, why did I choose this as number 1? I will show you. I love Profusion's formula. I love the color selection here for the eyeshadows. Over here are some large pans that work great as a crease shade, And no matter what your skin tone is, one of those is going to suit you. I have this one on today. So I just took that and I just ran that through the crease, built it up on the outside, and that's what I started the look with, and that's what I do pretty much every time I use this palette. I go right for that, which is called Comfy. And then I went in and I actually have a lot. I have a lot going on here. But the reason why I love this is because of those. And also, see these two shades that look really messed up? Those are cream shadows. And when I first got this palette, I was like, oh my God, why would they put cream shadows in here? There's more besides those two, but those are the two that I've dipped into the most, so they're the ones that look the most messed up. But if you look really carefully, you can see like dips. Anything that has like a dip in it is a cream. But yeah, so this is a mixture of powder and cream shadows. And at first I thought, why would they do that? Why would they put powders and creams in the same palette? It hasn't been an issue or a problem. The only time it's going to be an issue or a problem is when this palette starts to get old, because creams do not have the same shelf life as powders. So when the creams have expired, what am I going to do? Throw the whole palette away even though the powders would still technically be good? I don't know. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But yeah, the creams are spectacular. The powders are great. This whole bottom row is pressed glitters, so wish those weren't in there, but what are you going to do? Yeah, this is my favorite palette of the year. This is amazing. I don't really like that it's so huge, but at the same time, part of the reason why it's so great is because there are a lot of choices. Because you can open this up and look at this and you can go in so many different directions. I mean, the amount of looks that you could do with this are just endless. So that is my #1 pick for 2020. So what have we learned here? I think we have learned that my favorite eyeshadow brands now are Profusion, BH Cosmetics, and e.l.f. They're the ones that got the top spots. I like a lot of other brands for a lot of different reasons, but this was definitely a video overwhelmed by those 3 brands. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.